أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. All the distinguished guests present here, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all. Our local administration has requested me to give our distinguished guests a brief introduction to the teachings of Islam. In particular, with reference to an important subject towards which the attention of the world is focused, and as a result of which the non-Muslim world believes that Islam is a religion of extremism and terror. Indeed, some people declare that through terrorism, Islam is destroying the peace of the world. It is most unfortunate that there is a group that has a poor understanding of the teachings of Islam, but is fanning the flames of this erroneous concept. Indeed, some educated non-Muslims have connected the concept of life after death and heaven and hell to these Muslim extremists, terrorists, and suicide bombers. So the result is that the fatalist desire to enter paradise has awakened a peculiar concept of jihad and of dying in the name of Allah, which has caused them to take up the sword and seize mayhem and cause mayhem. These groups today are in reality a byproduct of this teaching and concept. In any case, while I admit that the acts committed by certain ignorant and over-enthusiastic Muslims have no doubt given a totally wrong impression of the teaching of Islam, I must also point out that the literature that has been written against Islam without a proper understanding of Islamic teachings has presented the same erroneous concept about Islamic jihad. Not only that, but also this literature that is in great circulation denies the very existence of God and considers religion and God to be responsible for this disorder and chaos. Be that as it may, it is a topic to which justice cannot be done in such a short time. However, I will try to present the true teachings of Islam as they have been expounded by the founder of Ahmadiyya Muslim community. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, whom we consider as the promised Messiah, al-Islam, peace be upon him. According to his understanding of the Holy Quran, the traditions of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and the history of Islam, first of all, I will explain the true concept of jihad in the words of the Messiah of the time. It has been 100 years since the founder of the Ahmadiyya community passed away. Therefore, no one can say that the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, having made up a fanciful reply in response to the wrong impression created in the world today, is now presenting something new. On the contrary, there are the very same teachings that are set out in the Holy Quran. The Prophet Messiah al-Islam says, the prevailing practice found amongst Muslims of attacking people of other religions, and which they call jihad, is not a lawful war, for it is clearly against the commandment of God and the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, and constitutes a grave sin. What do the words lawful jihad, used by the founder of Ahmadiyya community, mean? In order to understand this, we have to very briefly glance at the conditions existing in that part of Arabia where the founder of Islam, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, had proclaimed his divine mission and invited people to Islam. Remember, those people were illiterate and uncivilized. Animosities were born out of ridiculous and petty matters over which they would continue to kill each other for years. The sacred house, the Kaaba in Mecca, that Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, had built in the name and for the worship of the one true God, contained by that time no less than 360 idols for worship. The Meccans were certainly not ready to accept any God in the place of those idols. When the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, made his claim and invited the Arabs towards the one and only God, the intelligent amongst them, some of whom were his relatives, poor people, and slaves, embraced Islam. When this movement grew, the disbelievers of Mecca increased their persecution. Cruelty reached such heights that the believers were made to lie on the burning sands of Arabia, while baking hot stones were placed on their chests. They were whipped. Their limbs were tied to camels, and the camels were then driven in opposite directions, rending their bodies apart.